Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Pits of Metal and Motor Chaos. This is your host, Dave. I got online special guest Shane Westerfield, top alcohol funny car driver. How's it going, Shane?
Pretty good about yourself.
Not bad. Can't complain. Nobody listens anyway if you complain, right?
Yeah, right.
So now, first question I got for you, Shane, is how did this all begin for you to get into drag racing?
Um, Man, that goes way back. My dad was racing drag boats coming late 70s, early 80s, and all through the 90s. I was born late 80s, and he parked the boats for a while and started go-kart racing in the mid 90s, and then threw me into one when I was 6 years old. So started go-kart racing for a bit, and then the Junior Drag Racing League had been out for a little while. Started kind of following that. We got into that. I think 97 was my first Junior Drag race, and won a couple of races. Actually got to beat now Leah Pritchett. It was Leah Pruitt at the time, beat her in my first final, so that was kind of fun. And so won a couple of those and got rolling through about 2000 or so. Then we quit all that and actually got back into the drag boat scene. And did that through 2009, and my dad was doing all the boat driving, and I was just learning how to work on the motors and learning about, clutches and propellers and whatever else I could at the time. And I wanted to start driving the boat, and just decided at the time it was a little bit too dangerous, so we had to kind of find something else to do. And a car had actually come up for sale locally around where we live. Sean Bellimer, the last year's champion, it was him and his dad's car at the time. And ironically, it was actually Rick Jackson's car before that, who I'm driving for now. And we had never been big car racing before. All we had done was the junior stuff, and so it was kind of funneled into that, and I took the boat crew, and we all learned how to start working on a car together in 2010, and raced. I think we did 7 races, and we qualified once, and ended up, I think, winning one round. My first round win was against Clint Thompson. But just a great learning year, learned a lot, and ended up building a new car for the 2011 season, and went from there and won a bunch of races and won a regional championship since and a national championship. And now I got teamed up with Rick Jackson, who also used to race boats, and away we go.
Wow. So what was your quickest ET with this alcohol funny car?
With my car, with Chicago last year, we went 541, 273 miles per hour.
Nice. So what does the boat run on? The boat runs on alcohol too?
That actually runs on gas. It's a heads-up class. It's kind of like what we do with the car stuff. It's not bracket racing. It's still first one there. We run a Hemi-style Chevrolet. It's called an Arius motor. With 1471s with bird catcher or buzzer catchers on them. Got wings on them, and we go 1,000-foot racing with that. So we normally do it about right at 6 seconds, maybe just under it, about 135, 140 miles per hour with that.
So what was the experience like racing a boat for the first time?
I had grown up around it and been around it all my life. I was actually more in tune with the boat stuff than I was with any type of car racing. So it was more of a natural for me to get in that. I grew up, still do, go to the river a lot with my family, and you always see hot rod boats out, and had the opportunity, and I was real young to drive a couple of them, and I think I had actually more of a natural ability to go drive the boat stuff than I did with cars. Cars, I really had to learn a lot. The boat, don't get me wrong, the boat took me a bit too, but I was able to basically get a lot more practice in just at the river, and for some reason, a lot of different people trusted me. I was able to drive a lot of different boats, and I just kind of got the feel for it. So it was, by the time I got to go to the racetrack, it really wasn't like a big deal. I had already pretty much driven quarter mile and 1,000-foot runs, and just up and down the river all I could. Burned a lot of gas for a lot of years before I was ever out on the race course.
So what was the experience like going down the drag strip for the first time?
That was an experience. Like I said, the whole team had all worked on the race boat, so we never really had done anything on the asphalt. I had a little bit of experience the year before. I got to work on Courtney and Brittany Force's Hayfield drag series with Jerry Darian, and just kind of see if he even like this car racing thing before we fully committed to it. And so I surrounded myself with some real smart people and realized, all right, this is an avenue we can go. And so we went to the racetrack and put the car in the ground and went up, and I went to do a burnout, and it darted right. And I didn't really know what was going on, and backed the car up. We tried to stage the car with the back tires, and we were just a mess. And so I remember I revved it up and off feet, the car went dead right away. And like I probably made it 45 feet, shut it off, idled down, and it started raining. I was all excited. I didn't have to get back to the car that day because I was so far behind it. And we get back, and someone had watched the run that obviously had more experience than us, and they go, "Hey, you checked the rollout on the tires?" "What's the rollout? What do you mean?" We didn't know they're supposed to make sure these both tires are even in the back. And nowadays we keep them within about a quarter inch of each other, and we had one tire that was an inch and a half bigger than the other one. So when I left the clutch out, the solid tire was on the left, and the car just darted right away. So we fixed that for the next day, and I was able to get it through low gear, and then went to Tucson Dragway about a month later, and was able to finish my licensing runs there. And it took, I remember someone telling me it's going to take about 15, 20 runs to really catch up with the car, and it probably took an honest about 40, to really get comfortable, know what was going on, know where everything was, parachutes, how to shift it, rev it up right, it took a while. And honestly, when we still come back after taking a couple months off, like the winter break, you come back the first couple of runs, it's like I haven't driven a car in years. You got to just gather your thoughts and have all your stuff together before it's time to go.
So how did you do last year with the funny car?
We did all right. We finished second in the nation. We won 4 national events, 1 regional, qualified number 1 a couple of times. It actually ended up being a great year. Tom Bellimer just had an incredible year. He ended up being the national champion and driving for Tony Bartone last year, and they had just they had a perfect season, actually. They won 7 national events, and they won 3 regional events, and they did an outstanding job. So our goal this year is to not try to obviously have a perfect season, but win a lot of races and see if we can finish up in the 1, 2, or 3 spot. That's our goal. And I'm not driving my car this year. I'm actually driving for Rick Jackson, an old friend of mine. He's been around drag racing for a lot of years, has a lot of good equipment, and I'm over teamed up with him, and we're going to see if we can make a run for it.
Now, how many events are you looking to do this year?
I think right now we have 13 on the schedule, possibly 14, depending on how we're doing and if it makes sense travel-wise. We don't want to waste any money if we don't have to. But that's our goal right now, 13 to 14.
So now that you're racing for Rick Jackson, are you just going to meet him up wherever they're going and just drive now?
Yeah, pretty much. They got a real solid team. Chris Pearl, Mike Pavia, and Scott Manuel, those guys, they do, they put the car together, get it ready for an event. And so even going to the races, they do 99% of the work. All I do is put fuel in it and back the parachutes and just sit back, and they pretty much take care of it all. They do a great job, and looking forward to a good year.
So who are the sponsors for Rick Jackson's car? Do you know all the sponsors?
Yeah, a lot of them came over from who used to sponsor me. We got CP Carrillo, Blake Brothers Racing, Lucas Oil, Dynamic 360, and he's got a couple others himself, Center Point Collision and whatnot. So there's a handful that are on there, and obviously we're always looking for more.
Yeah, so if anyone listening in to this interview right now wants to be a sponsor, there you go.
There you go, exactly. We're looking.
Yeah. So now, when you first, started drag racing, was there any drivers out there that were inspirational to you?
Yeah, always been a real big fan of Dale Worsham. Watched him and his dad race for years, and they were pretty successful on a real small budget and worked out of their 3-car garage for a long time. And I remember I would go to work with my dad at times when I was younger. We'd always stop by on the way home. They weren't too far from our shop, and just check out what was going on. And Dad always let me sit in the car, and just like I said, always really admired him and liked how they were racing, how they were doing it. I was fortunate enough in 2014, actually, he allowed me to get my fuel funny car license in one of his cars, and actually ended up driving for him for a couple of races. Did a Phoenix race, we did Pomona, and then we traveled to St. Louis and Charlotte and whatnot. Got my first round win against Robert Height. It was a real good time, good experience, and he's still a real good friend of mine. In fact, the 2 race cars that we had bought for ourselves came through him, and he's guided us down a good path for how to run our program. So I'd probably say Dale Worsham was my, he was my guy and still is.
So if you ever get the call to drive a Big Show Nitro car, you won't turn that down, right?
I'm pretty comfortable right now with my car, or with driving with Rick. Obviously if the opportunity came about, it was real good. I would definitely finish out with what I have going with Rick right now. But I'm pretty fortunate. Rick's a real good guy, and he's a family man like myself. And we're there to have fun. We're there to win. Don't get me wrong. That's first and foremost. But we're there to have fun, and it allows me to limit the races we do. We still have enough fun for the championship. I still get to be somewhat normal. I get to go on vacation with my family. Still get to have a normal job and get to do kind of best of both worlds. But then again, right opportunity came about for a fuel car. And talked to my family about it. And you never know. This is where I'm going with it. You never know.
Yep. So now, your family's always backed you up for they supported you for in drag racing.
Oh yeah, 100%. I've been married to my wife now for coming up on 6 years, but I've known her since second grade. Known each other for a long time. So she's always supported anything I've ever done. And obviously, my parents, for everything that they've ever done for me, they've got me into all this. I think they saw early on I wasn't an athlete, and this was probably the only thing I could be somewhat successful at. And so they gave me every opportunity that they could, and always had the right equipment for myself, and here we are.
So you have any kids?
Yeah, one daughter. She's almost 3, and she enjoys going to the races and hanging out. She's probably my big man out there. So it's a lot of fun.
Now, do you think she'll ever get into a junior dragster?
So we actually bought my old junior dragster back. We saw it at a test event in Vegas a couple of years ago. I saw it there, saw the same paint job on it, and it was a father and son dealer out there. His son was probably 6, 7 years old at the time, and so it was cool. Saw that, and I gave my business card. Said, "Hey, if you ever want to sell this, let me know." And about 6 months later, he called up, and we bought the car back. So it's my old original junior dragster that I used to race, and I think we bought it in '97. We sold it in 2000 and bought it back, whatever it was, in 2017 or 18. So it was gone 17, 18 years, and got the car back and has a small motor in it for the 5, 6-year-old class. And so if she wants to, it's sitting there ready to go.
That's good. There's a lot.
So we're excited.
Yeah, there's a lot of junior directors out there now, which is a good thing, because they're the future.
Oh yeah, and a lot of the guys I raced with, Doug Gordon and Nick Janik and all them, and even the Paynes, the Howes, a bunch of them had kids that have gone through that program, and now we're looking into getting into the big cars. So it's a great stepping stone for sure.
Yeah. So now, for you, do you have any pre-race rituals or superstitions?
Yeah, I do the same thing every time. Put the left shoe on first, put the left glove on first, left seatbelt on first, you name it, you name it. I try to do the same thing every time, that less chance to screw up.
All right, now, what goes for you? What goes into preparation to get ready for a weekend of drag racing?
It used to be to get the car prepared. Service the engine, transmission, clutches, the old clutch packs, whatever it had to be done. Trailer needs work or not work on the trailer. It was kind of, my dad actually helped me with a lot of the stuff, and I'd have a couple crew guys who would come over and help me at times if need be. But now, make sure my plane flight's booked, ready to go, and fly out to the racetrack. These guys do a great job preparing, getting everything ready to go. I don't really have to do too much, so it makes it pretty nice.
Yep. So what are your favorite tracks to run on?
Well, Pomona for sure. Just being that it's home track and family comes out and all my friends, and that's always a great time. And I grew up racing juniors there. Uh, as far as that, I like I've had a lot of success racing in Dallas, Houston area. I had a lot of good friends out there, a lot of good sponsors out there. Friends that turned into sponsors, or sponsors that turned into friends. However you want to look at it, but they a lot of people out there. All the Blake brothers, they're one of the sponsors on the car this year as well. Call them Blake Brothers Racing, and they're out of Houston. So every time we go there, we actually seem to run pretty well, and it always ends up being a real big party afterwards if we end up winning. So I would say either the Houston or Dallas racetrack as well is a lot of fun for me.
Yeah. How about Route 66?
I've actually had a lot of success there. First time I went there, it was horrible. Second time I went there was horrible, so we almost never went back. And then went back in 2016, and we doubled up. We won the Jags All-Stars, then we won the national event, and they do a double payday, and ended up being, about a $25,000 weekend. And I went back 2 years later, did it again, double up again on there. So, yeah, Chicago's a lot of fun, too. It's just weather doesn't normally work out that great, but had a lot of success there, at least.
So throughout your drag racing career, how many trophies or plaques and all that kind of stuff have you won so far?
Let's see. I think we've won 10 national events, 8 regional events. So I think we got 18 total right now. But we've been doing it quite some time. 10 or 9 seasons. But no, it's been good. Like I said, a couple Jegs All-Star trophies and the regional championship, national championship. So I'd say it's been pretty successful for what we've done. Some guys have been doing it shorter and had a little more success. Some guys have been doing it longer and haven't had as much success. So it's I'd say we've done fairly well for ourselves.
So what do you contribute to your success?
Oh, just hard work and my dad always taught me hang around people that are smarter than you. That's what we always did. Surround ourselves with the right people. Always try to get the right equipment. And if we couldn't do it the right way, we wouldn't do it. There's times we skip races because we couldn't afford the right parts or whatever it might be. And we plan on being here for a while, so if we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it the right way. So I would say having the right equipment and taking our time at it, and always trying our best, and never giving up.
So what kind of advice would you give someone that's might be listening that they're thinking about driving a top alcohol funny car? What kind of advice would you give that person?
Find a lot of money.
Yeah.
Find a big bag of money. It'll buy you a lot of success and happiness, I think. These things. Someone once told me they run on cubic dollars. And it's stressful at times. The finding sponsors and finding the money and getting all that put together. Sometimes the easiest part is driving a race car. And unfortunately, or however you want to look at it, it's part of it. You got to market yourself. You got to be out there. The Facebook and Instagram, the Twitter, the YouTube stuff. The website stuff. Being able to talk on TV and radio interviews, whatever. You got to do all that. And honestly, sometimes the best part for sure, obviously, is being able to drive the car. But sometimes it's your quietest moment. You kind of get away from all that. You get in the car, you get strapped in, and you actually just go enjoy it. Everything else, there's a lot that goes to one of these things. We're still considered a sportman car, but it's a full-time job to be on one of these things. Most teams have 1-2 guys full-time that are paid. And we're not paid back very well. Like I said, we're still considered sportmen, so a lot of it relies on sponsor money. If you relied on round win money, you take it one more race. That'd be about it. So it's hard, unless you got deep pockets. You gotta find guys that want to be involved, want to market on your car, and get after it.
So what keeps you passionate about drag racing there for all the years?
No, it just wasn't. I've always just really liked it a lot. As far as the passion goes, I think I get to struggle at times with it. You know, it's a real humbling sport. You know, you're up 1 minute, you're down the next. It'll kick you down in the dirt for a long time, and you could win 1 out of 100 tries. You know, and you'll get that one win, and you want to get it again, and you'll just keep trying to get it. You know, and guys that you'll whip 1 week will whip you the next week. You know, you never know. And then the challenge of just driving one. You know, all the different things you got to do. You know, revving it up, staging the car right, shifting right. You know, you miss your shift by 1 to 200 one way or the other. The difference of winning or burning the motor up. You know, you never know. And it's just you know, and the camaraderie, of course. You know, I got a lot of good people out there. Made a lot of good friends out there, and you know, I wouldn't trade that for anything, without a doubt. I look forward to going to a race now. Just mainly, most of my friends are there, so you know, I get to see them 13, 14 times a year. You know, and that's you want to pit next to them, you barbecue with them, you drink beers with them, you know, whatever. So a lot of that goes along with it, and it's just a good time, man. You know, I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Yep, like I always say in all the interviews, it's drag racing is just one big family.
Exactly. They do anything for you.
Yeah. So now, would you ever do like one of the funny car chaos events?
Oh, I don't know. I know that's more of a Midwest type of deal. You know, if it was something local to me, I probably would. I don't think I would travel to go do it. You know, we try to run it on a pretty professional level, especially with Rick's program now, and my own was too. You know, so we try to stick with just the NHRA national event stuff. So to answer your question, probably not. I mean, if we were on the way to an event, it was there, money was good, maybe drag it out for a run or two, but honestly, probably not. We like sticking with all the NHRA sanctioning races.
All right. Now, where do you get your fire safety equipment from?
All just Stand 21 suit, and all the rest is Simpson or Dennis Taylor stuff.
Now, the Rick Jackson's car, what kind of what's the body style? What is the make of the car?
It's a Chevrolet Camaro. Pretty much what about 90% of the guys in the class are using now. They came out with that body 2014, and it was a game changer for sure. It's got a bunch of mile an hour, a lot less downforce. EP helped as well, so that was the way to go. It's a Murphy McKinney car, and Noonan heads on it, and Brad Anderson blocks, and you know, PSI blower, just like pretty much like what everyone else runs.
Screw blower. Yep. Man, I know Andy Bo's gonna move over to screw blower this year.
Oh, he ordered a brand new one?
No, Andy said he's gonna do a screw blower this year on his car.
Oh yeah, okay, cool, very cool.
Yeah, because I think it was last 2 weeks ago. I think I had Andy Bolon and then Ray Drew in the same week.
Okay.
I know you know both of them guys.
Oh yeah, no, they're great guys, man. Raced against them, you know, they're once you start heading, you know, Midwest or back east, when you start running into those guys, but they're both real cool and love racing against them.
And you said you raced Clint Thompson before too, right?
Yeah, I raced against him. He hasn't been out for a couple of years. He's starting new business up there in Oregon. And so hopefully he comes out here soon. He's a real tough competitor, you know, to be around him. He brings out the best in him.
Yeah, I had him on there before too. He had that Trump car.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So now, when you're doing a top alcohol funny car driving, do you get any advice from other drivers?
Oh, I mean, me and my close buddies will talk at times if we don't think the racetrack's good or if it's real good. You know, just if there's a bump out there, we'll talk about that. But that's about it. You know, you're racing against them, so you want to do all you can to beat them.
So what would you consider to be the milestones of your drag racing career so far?
Oh, I would definitely say the top was winning the national championship in 2017 and the regional same year. winning. I've won a couple of Winter Nationals now and won the World Finals. So I've won 3 races or 3 times my home track. That was obviously right up there. Doing the double up twice in Chicago. Those were awesome. A lot of money made there. Got real lucky too. Each time we won there, we didn't really hurt any parts at the same time. So it was a good outing both the times that we were able to go do that. I'd probably say those, and then the last one probably my very first win. Got to beat Frank Mans in the final. He had a 42 race win streak in a row going, and we broke it. That was Dallas 2013. So that was a big day. We beat a lot of tough competitors. Same day, beat Andy Whiteley, beat John Lombardo, and to get that win that way was pretty cool.
So now with the top funny cars, do you have a greatest competitor in the field?
They all are. They're all good. Anytime you get against any of them, it's always a good challenge.
Now, throughout your drag racing career, have you had any accidents or close calls at all?
One minor accident. Went through the finish line. Pomona, my first run down Pomona in the funny car, and hit the parachute. Only one chute came out, short shutdown, so I grabbed a handful of brake, and it ripped the left front A-arm off the car. And just basically the car drug in the ground and just drove over to the wall. I didn't hit the wall going real fast. I was probably 60, 70 miles an hour, but it hit it, kind of rode the wall down right to the turnout. And it destroyed the body, mashed in the header, and broke the car up a little bit, not bad. We were able to fix the car, and we ended up selling it. But that was probably one of the worst ones. And I had a close call where a guy drove through my parachute in Dallas one year. But other than that, I've been pretty fortunate, And that's with alcohol cars concerned. The fuel car had a couple of I had one big fire and a couple small fires. So that's just kind of driving a fuel car. That's just part of it.
Well, knock on wood, Shane, you won't have any accidents.
Hopefully, that's the goal.
Yeah. So now, do you have any hobbies outside of drag racing?
Not much, man. If I'm not racing the car, we're racing the boat. We're not racing the boat. We're at the river, floating down the Colorado River, drinking beer, hanging out with our friends. So it's about the 3 things I do. That keeps me pretty satisfied. That's what works for me. I'm pretty simple.
So no fishing?
Not really. No. Just go float and hang out, because between working on my folks' business here, we build a custom trade show exhibit. Between running around doing that, like I said, all the racing and everything, we're pretty much tied up. Normally, 5-6 weekends in a row at times, get 1 weekend off. So the weekend I get off, and I just like to relax. The river normally calms me down pretty good.
So now, if you and your wife have time to take a vacation, do you guys have a favorite vacation spot to hit?
It's been a while since just her and I have gone, especially since the little one was born. She took me to New York last year. We had a good time there, and we're talking about doing Hawaii here this year. Hopefully, we have a Mexico trip planned as well. So we try to do something at least once a year, get out and go do something. And we like to have a good time. She's a real fun person to be around. She's my best friend, so we have a great time together.
That's awesome. So now, if you were able to do time traveling and go backwards in time, Shane, would you do anything differently with your drag racing career?
Nah, not one bit. Not one bit.
All right, so here's some more fun questions here. What's your favorite food to eat?
Man, it depends what day it is. If it's Tuesday, it's Taco Tuesday. If it's Wednesday, I don't know, pasta. If it's Thursday, pizza. I don't know, whatever. Whatever I can get away with without gaining too much weight.
Nah, you're an easy guy to feed, huh?
Yeah, pretty much.
Does your wife cook?
Oh yeah, great cook. Cooks every night. Making tacos tonight, actually. I'm heading back here soon.
So what's your favorite dish that your wife makes?
Probably tacos. So I'm really looking forward to tonight's meal. Get a margarita along with it.
Taco Tuesday.
There you go.
So what's your favorite beverage?
Usually a Crown and Coke or a Cold Coors Light, one of the two.
And then if it's non-alcoholic, what's your favorite beverage?
Ooh. Water. Lots of it.
Yeah, water's good for you. So what would you consider to be your favorite movie of all time?
Oh, American Graffiti.
Yeah, I get it. Watch the racing movies.
That's it.
What's your favorite music to listen to?
Same deal. Whatever on that day. It might be a country day. It might be a classic rock day. You never know. Whatever kind of mood I'm in.
All right, now if you weren't a drag racer, what do you think you'd be doing with your life right now?
Hoping to be a drag racer.
Yeah. All right, let me ask you this question. You probably might have more than one of these, but think of the one that stands out the most. What's been your one of your most embarrassing moments on the track?
Oh, yeah, there's a whole bunch of those. A couple times I've done it red light and outran the car I was racing. That's not good.
Yeah. So how are you at the on the tree? You cut the tree pretty good.
I hold my own, do okay. Not the best, not the worst. Just try to be a 30 or 40 guy and not screw up. And main thing is, don't red light. Like I said, done that before a couple of times, and just throw everything away. So try to be, like I said, in the 30s and 40s. Once in a while, get down to 20s. So I'm happy with that.
So now, what would you consider to be the fondest memory of your drag racing career so far?
Say that one more time.
What would you consider to be the fondest memory of your drag racing career so far?
Setting up at the top end when they told me I was a national champion. Probably that was probably the best one so far.
All right, now if people are listening to an interview and they want to find the schedule, what's the best way for them to do it? Be the Rick Jackson page?
Yeah, Rick Jackson Motorsports on Facebook. They got the schedule on there, and I think he has a regular website as well. And schedule's on there, and where we're going and where we're going to be.
Do you have is there a website?
Yeah, I think it's under Rick Jackson Motorsports, I believe.
All right. Now, how important do you think it is for kids to watch drag racing these days?
I think it's awesome, man. Better than sitting at home and watching TV. Get out there, be a part of it. Get your hands dirty and get to do what the big guys do on TV. Most kids are around. The baseball and the football and basketball and all that stuff, which is great. I was just never really surrounded around that, so I was always a little bit different at school, but it made me unique. People wanted to talk about it, wanted to ask questions how the weekends went, what I did compared to them. So be different, take a chance, get out there and do it.
Well, Shane, I want to thank you very much for taking the time to interview tonight. You have any final words or thank yous? Anything you want to do before we close out?
Yeah, just thank you to everyone who's ever been a part of my racing team and all the sponsors and all the fans, and just been a great ride. Hopefully, keep it rolling. It's going to be a fun, exciting year. So follow us on Facebook and Instagram and cheer hard.
Well, I wish you the best of luck with this 2019 season.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
We'll get you on the air again in the future. We'll check how you're doing.
Sounds good.
All right. Have a good night, Shane.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.